And we are live.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our second episode of 53 and a Third. My name is Sean Hurley, aka The Machine. I am welcome, as always, with my two co-hosts, Mark Devontae Stanford, Mr. USA South Defensive Player of the Week, and my man Ill Will. A little bit of All-American action going on here. Let's get this thing rolling. We got a lot of current events to get into. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the sports world. But, you know, a topic that has bothered us for 6 years now, that our alma mater finally decided to do. Methodist finally put in lights, fellas, and they put in the cheapest Little League lights they can find.
Lights, man. They put
Tragic.
in lights.
I mean, they could have done this 2 decades ago, man.
How many times did they tell us they were going to revamp the stadium, man?
Every single year. Every year. They were going to put in more seating. They were going to put in more box seats, which I don't know why that really mattered.
And let me just preface this. I mean, guys, we don't hate our alma mater. There's no ill feelings towards it. We're just poking a little fun at them. That's all. So if any of our coaches or anyone else ends up seeing this, we love you guys. We're not mad at you.
We're not mad. We're just disappointed.
I wish you had done this earlier.
Exactly. I mean, so many missed opportunities to have, under the lights. I mean, we had some great games during the daytime, but I feel like night games add a little more dramatic romanticism to like the situation. It's just, I don't know.
Night games, you play better.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
Without a doubt.
freshman year, you guys went to, was it Newport News? Night game in front of 20,000 people.
Christopher Newport University.
Ooh.
Over 10,000 people there, man.
At
That
least.
game was rocking.
It was
That
family
a legit
weekend.
thing.
Parents
It
weekend.
was.
And
It was a night
crazy.
game.
And it went into double overtime.
Could have won that. There was some guys were dog tired.
Yeah,
so
coach had put me in.
The past is the past. We can't go back and change our, life events. I mean, I put this more on the university than I do the team. I definitely do not put this on Coach E, who was our athletic director in charge of football.
I definitely think it's definitely board of trustees issue. I mean, it's not. Coach E loved football, man. I mean, it's not his doing, I think.
It's really not. And also football is a moneymaker for the school, and the way they bring in all the kids literally every year, there's no way they shouldn't have had those lights up a little earlier.
You got to think too. I mean, we got a new president, so I mean that also may have played a part. Hancock might never wanted to pull the trigger. You never know.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, they spent money on other sports. I mean, tennis got their whole facility. Golf was constantly getting new things.
Baseball got a new clubhouse.
But that was a donation, though. That wasn't money straight out of the athletic fund. That was a very, very generous donation. And props to those guys. I mean, they got a great facility out of it.
We definitely had enough money to install lights. I mean,
exactly.
It's not like it's a major renovation to the stadium. Well, soccer got lights before us.
They did.
But in the same argument, I can see the university be like, well, winners get winners things. They had, I think, more conference championships for the men and women compared to football.
But I mean, we'd won a conference title more recently before they got lights.
Yeah, that probably should have happened after that. I mean, because that brought – I don't know if the conference gives universities money for winning or anything, but it did bring more recruits. It brought all of us. I mean, we all got sold on the fact that, hey, we might be rolling down the –
I mean, I was at the game when they won the conference title. I was at that game. I
didn't go there. I didn't take any game visits. I took get into this another episode. My recruiting path was a little late on the whole decisions thing.
True.
It was late. Mine was definitely late. Whew.
I think we all committed late.
Pretty much. I think I did mine.
I didn't sign on National Signing Day. I mean,
yeah, I didn't sign either. I was literally in baseball season, so I wasn't really worried about it at the time.
So going along with, we're talking about our school, a little bit of college football news we want to get into. RIP to Florida Tech's program, Division II school out of Melbourne.
We kind of called it last episode.
Yeah, I felt bad. The day I saw it, I think it happened Sunday when I was watching Last Dance. I was like, I foreshadowed the hell out of that.
I saw it from a tweet from one of their players.
Really?
Looking for a new home. He's out there putting himself out trying to get recruited.
I mean, you got 130 guys now. I mean, they never obviously Division II. They probably don't have as many guys as we would carry, but still 130 guys now have to find a new home. Whether either they can retire or they can try to find somewhere else to play. I mean, that's just a sad situation. I understand. It took the NCAA 100+ years to finally acknowledge the fact that college is a business. College sports is a business. And what comes with business is how much money can we make? Can we support ourselves? I understand it was a business decision, but damn, does that suck for those guys?
Mm-hmm. I mean, thank God we never had to go through anything like that. I mean, I mean, very similar. Jacksonville University cut their football program. I mean, what do you do, man? I mean, a lot of those kids are on scholarship. How do you?
Jacksonville, they run academic because Pioneer League is what it is, and they don't give out athletic. But
a lot of those kids were on scholarship, though. I mean, a lot of those kids were on scholarship at either school. How does the university kind of take care of those guys? I mean, do they offer to pay their tuition for the rest of the time there? I mean, do they help them transfer? I mean, what do they do?
I know Florida Tech came out and said they'll honor a 4-year scholarship for the guys that have it. Granted, how many guys on roster actually have scholarships? That's something we don't know. But you got to take out a different loan. I don't know if that loan that you have will transfer to another university.
What do you think about it, Mark?
Up a whole bunch of stuff.
What do you think about it, Mark?
Honestly, it's real tough. Still trying to figure out, like, even if they are able to transfer out, what schools are really going to take them is really the next question after you figure out, hey, how much money can I get? Where am I gonna be able to go? Like, who's really gonna take that chance with them? So you really think about that.
You got to start that whole process over again with recruiting and reaching out. And a lot of coaches at this point already have their guys, man.
Oh yeah,
exactly. And they're pretty much.
Oh yeah.
They're already left out of the board.
And then you got to look at Florida Tech coaches now out of jobs. How many of them have the loyalty? I'm not talking about – I don't have any personal experience with any of this, but I'm just saying, like, what personal loyalty – how strong of a personal loyalty do those coaches have to stay there and be like, hey, I'm not getting paid to do this, but let me cut and get the film ready for these guys for them to move on. Let's say you don't have that, or the film now gets lost because no one's there to cut it, no one's there to take care of it. Now it's gone. And if you didn't cut your film and get your highlight tape ready yourself, like everyone does after the season, they put their best plays together, more as a career highlight that they want to keep, or as a just in case. If you didn't do that, now you're kind of screwed. You're like, what am I going to do? I can't get the film. It's not available to me. Like, unless they have a coach that is loyal to their guys, and they say, you know what, I'm going to take this upon myself. I'm going to send it to you guys, maybe all the game film from last year. And I'm just going to send it to your email. I'm going to let you guys cut it. Whether they do that or do it themselves, that's amazing. I hope there's a coach doing that for them. But if not, I mean, man, what are you going to send out, high school film? What if you're a junior?
Did
any film saved?
Did the school say they weren't going to pay the coaches throughout the end of the year?
I didn't see anything about that. I think it was they fired a bunch.
I know that's what JU was doing. They said we're going to pay the coaches throughout the remainder of the year, and help them find other jobs if they can. I mean, I'm not saying that they're doing this, but I think it's only fair that they do honor that and say, hey, we're going to pay you through the remainder of the year or remainder of the spring or whatever. So these coaches do have some motivation to kind of help these guys. And I think, and honestly, I mean, this might be an unpopular opinion, maybe a popular opinion. If you're a coach, you're not in it for the money. You're not in it for the money because there's no money in coaching unless you're a big-time D1 guy.
Yeah, especially at
you're in it for those guys. I mean, if you're not trying to help those guys move on and you're only in it for yourself, you don't need to be in the coaching field.
Exactly.
I mean, sad stuff there. I mean, but at the same time, now we're moving on to – I hope this doesn't happen to other universities, whether you're NAIA or NCAA. But the sad truth of the matter is this is going to happen to other universities down the road, whether it's this year or next year. I mean, I believe I read Florida Tech, their athletic budget was $10 million, and the football team ate up $3 million of that budget, whether that's on stadium salaries.
Did we cover the reason why they shut down?
It's because they weren't bringing in any money because of spring sports and the basketball. They weren't bringing in any revenue to their athletic department to sustain it. And they weren't willing to
fish.
Yes, and they weren't willing to take money from the academic fund and some of their other funds to spend on it, which sucks. Football in America, football is usually the biggest moneymaker for universities, and when you can't afford to keep that, you got to cut it. It's the saddest thing, but
a thing with like a school with like Florida Tech though, like their academic fund. I mean, I feel like they kind of pigeonhole themselves with their, because they're not very diverse when it comes to academics. It's an engineering heavy school. It's not like, I remember when I was being recruited by Florida Tech when I was in high school to come play football there. And I was this close to committing there, man. I was close. But, you know, I would ask them about the majors, and they didn't have any majors in the health sciences field. They have no medical majors, not a lot of stuff like that. It's pretty strictly engineering. And I decided I didn't want to be an engineer. So
you could definitely lose out on a lot of students that way too.
Exactly. I mean, I think, and it's not their fault. I mean, they're Florida Institute of Technology. I mean, that's who they are. That's what they are. But I mean, I think that hurts them a lot in, you know, an academic fun way.
Yeah, and another thing for these guys going out looking for other schools, you know, that may not have the talent to move on to a higher level. Florida is a unique state. It is a football mecca for high school. But at the same time, college-wise, it's mostly Division I. It's mostly Division I. There's not a lot of Division II. There's virtually none in Division III.
I think there's
JUCOs, but a lot of these guys aren't.
I think there's one Division III school.
Yeah, there's one.
Ave Maria.
No, they're NAIA.
They're NAIA?
Yep. Yeah. What, you talking about in Florida?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there's no D3 schools in Florida.
Yeah.
I know Division II, there's West Florida.
Yeah, West Florida and Florida Tech.
West Florida and Barry.
Florida Tech, not anymore. Barry's in Georgia.
Barry's on the corner of Georgia and Florida. It's on the Florida, Georgia
They're
line.
in Rome, Georgia.
Right.
I mean, NAIA, there's Southeastern, Weber, Ave Maria,
Warner.
And Warner.
Jesus.
And there might be one in Miami. But there's a lot of JUCOs. But like I said, guys aren't going to want to take that stuff down and be like, I'm already at Division II. Why would I go to JUCO?
Exactly. Or I mean,
NAIA is a feasible option because they can give out actual scholarships, but that's very minimal.
But Florida is Division I heavy. I mean,
yes.
Division I heavy.
That's why a lot of schools up in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia have such a huge player base of Florida guys. Miami in particular, and my area, the 813, Tampa. There's a whole bunch of guys that are from this area that go up north because there's nothing down here. there's so much talent in Florida that we have to export it. We have to go out of state.
Look at our alma mater, man.
Not really. I wouldn't agree with you on that one, Sean, because I would say a lot of the Florida schools, they don't even try to keep their own kids in the state, which is they literally just go for talent all over the country. They never really try to keep kids.
That's Division I. I'm talking about, let's say in the state of Florida, maybe a few hundred go Division I, and then you have a few thousand underneath that go Division I AA, Division II, Division III, and NAIA. They all go out of state for that. Mostly because there's nothing in state. So 90% of the guys have to go out of state. Only maybe 5% stay in and go to the smaller schools, and the other 5 go Division I in state or they go out. 90% have to go out. I mean, all the guys that I committed with in high school, we had a decent group sign. Only one from my recruiting class in high school. Actually, 2. Only 2. We had 10 out of 2 stayed in state. They tried to do walk-ons at FIU and FAU. I mean, that's 80% went other places.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I had a lot of guys. I mean, even our 2014 class, even Will knows. Charles Wilson, he left Florida, went to Oregon. Leonard Williams, he literally went to USC out in California, and it was just like I had a boy probably graduated 2 or 3 years. Evan Henson, he ended up going to University of South Carolina. His brother Blake is literally at Ole Miss. Like Florida has the talent. It's just I feel like they're just not trying to keep the kid.
Look at Schnellenberger at Miami back in the 70s and 80s. He wanted to recruit the state of Miami. I mean, he pretty much fenced off Southern Florida and kept all that talent and won national championships. I mean, you want to win national championships, recruit Florida.
We get the talent.
I might be biased because I live here, but, I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
I always say this. Florida got the best talent anywhere on the field. Texas got the culture. California got the QBs and the wide receivers.
We're the best football state, period, though.
All around.
Ohio got linemen. That's it.
Florida is the best football state, period. We're the most athletic, the fastest. We're the best football players.
I mean, dudes in Miami chase rabbits to get faster. I mean,
we're the best. The reigning NFL MVP. Where's he from? Florida.
Who was it this year?
Lamar Jackson.
I feel like we should know this. Yeah, Miami. I'm thinking Super Bowl MVP. I'm like, he's from Texas. Pat Mahomes is from Texas. A lot of QBs come out of Texas. Not a lot of QBs come out of Florida. My high school coach,
is true.
Tacoy Blunt and Julian Johnson. They're both played in Tampa. But from them, what they told us back in the day, right before USF was starting their program. So the word around Tampa was you're either going to Miami or you're either going to Tampa. That's what the recruiting pool was. You weren't going anywhere else. Nowadays, it's we can go somewhere else. It don't matter. I don't care. And a lot of guys do. And it's like, why? There's so much talent. USF used to bother me for years. It was after Levitt got fired. It was like, why are they not picking up all the talent here? USF could have been a contender, could have been a Power 5 conference team, but they just refused to sign all the guys here. They want to go to Georgia, Jersey, Virginia. It's like, but why? There's all these, even 3-star, 4-stars. There's so many in this area. Pick them up. What's the problem?
Florida's saturated with talent,
UCF did.
UCF went out of state, and then, well, for a while they recruited in-state. Now they're starting to go out with their new coach. They're starting to bring more guys in.
I think when they started winning for those 2 years, they were definitely heavy in the state, kept a lot of those kids in. There were a lot of 2-star, 3-star kids that weren't really getting picked up from the D1s here. So they said, hey, we'll take them if you don't want them.
We talk about recruiting too, man. I mean, speaking of recruiting, the Tennessee Volunteers, man. How have they become the number 2 recruiting class so quickly?
I don't know. That is the weird. That is the oddest thing.
It seems like every time I pull up Twitter, I see, an athletic recruiting service or something that's promoted, or I see a coach retweet it. I am blessed to commit to the University of Tennessee. And I'm like, why?
What an odd place.
Why do you want to go to Tennessee? And it goes back. Jeremy Pruitt, man, that dude, I mean, he's part of the Saban tree. So, I mean, he's going to be successful. That guy's cleaning house right now. I think Ohio State's the only school ahead of him in recruiting.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and they pull out a lot out of state too. I mean, talk about guys committing out of state right over here in Plant City. It's not really the Tampa area, but in Plant City, Mario Williams committed to Oklahoma. He's from Plant City, Florida. He's going to Oklahoma. Why didn't Florida State pick him up?
Oklahoma's popping right now, man. They're in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, that is
Florida
true.
State's
you got to go for a championship contender.
Florida State's some cheeks.
Oh yeah.
If it were me, I would go somewhere where I could play right away.
Oh, I got a hornet flying around here.
I think that's one thing I think kids do. And not in a derogatory way, I think they ring chase.
Can you blame them?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not like blaming them for it, but like I think sometimes they commit for the wrong reasons. I mean, what would you rather say? I committed to this place and played all 4 years and saw the field, or I committed to Alabama and won 4 rings, but I never saw the field.
I feel like they care about the rings, to be honest.
Which would you rather say? I mean,
I always wish I had the hardware. So I mean, for me, if I had the opportunity,
you'd ride the bench for 4 years and just collect rings.
Can't do it.
I don't know.
I couldn't do it, man.
The competitor in me says I would love to play, but
I couldn't do it.
Like Steve Kerr said, I got a competitive drive. I just don't have the ability to back it up.
I couldn't do it, man. I'd have. That's one of the reasons I wanted to play at Methodist. I thought I could play there right away. I thought it was the best of both worlds. They just won a conference title, and I thought I could come in there and play right now.
I was honestly the same. I knew I could play at NC Wesleyan, but
if you had played at NC Wesleyan, Mark, oh my gosh.
I just didn't like the school. I went there. I took the visit right after Methodist.
Speaking of NC Wesleyan, we own you. By the way, I never lost to you. I ain't never lost to y'all. Let's go ahead and say it. I mean,
Huntington has entered the chat, and Maryville has entered the chat.
I beat Huntington too. I never beat Maryville, but I beat Huntington.
Should have beat Maryville. Should have beat Maryville freshman year.
We should have beat Maryville. We should have beat Maryville twice.
We missed out on a conference title because of. We don't need to show any.
A certain someone who won't be named for running out onto the field.
But again, the kicker should have made that. He should have made that kick. Cody should have made that kick.
Yeah, but it should have never been backed up 15 yards.
Actually, it wasn't Cody doing the kicking. It was
Cody. It was Cody.
No, I thought it was a 5-4 guy.
I snapped the ball, Sean. It was Cody.
He still should have made it.
I was on the field. I was on the field for it.
It wasn't like it was a 45-yarder.
No, but it's still like it shouldn't have. It should have never been as far as it was.
Oh, trust me, I know.
We
all know. We missed out on some hardware because of selfishness.
Someone who wasn't even playing.
No disrespect to him. I mean, he did a lot for the university.
No, full disrespect. Full disrespect to him. You cost me a ring. You cost me a ring.
Before that,
you cost me a ring.
Didn't even get
full
a chance,
disrespect to you. He's lucky I'm not name dropping.
Freaking Armwood kids. Anyway,
he knows who he is.
Crazy part is you could. You from Florida too.
You think I'm scared? You think I'm scared?
He probably lives somewhere near me.
Might as well, right?
I'm just doing it out of respect. I mean, I respect what he did for the university, but I mean,
like I said, we can't go back chasing mistakes and
I
missed
still
opportunities. Moving on here, there was a bunch of things going on in the pro sports world. There was uniforms dropping, dudes pulling out automatic weapons, NBA talk, UFC, MLB, NFL. There's a lot of things to get in here.
Uniforms, baby. All right. Now that all of them have been dropped, I think for the most part, I don't think there's anyone else left with new unis this year. Who won the uniform contest?
I mean, there was only two teams that really kind of changed their appearance. I feel like every other team just
kind of rebranded,
kept it the same, and just threw some colors, flashier colors on their uniforms.
True.
I definitely like Atlantis. I'm not gonna lie. So
really,
and I like Atlantis.
You're an Atlanta fan, so
yeah.
I think the Chargers won.
ATL on the shirt?
I think the Chargers won.
I like the Chargers nice. Navy blue. The powder blue is nice. I like the helmets. I like their helmets.
I like the Rams new unis, man. I like them.
Hey, those are tough. Those are nice. I like them too.
I might be biased.
The Best Buy uniform?
Shut up.
Hello, sir. You want a DVD?
You became the Tampa Bay
DVR?
Patriots. I don't want to hear it. You might as well change your logo to the Patriots logo.
I'm not a Tampa fan, but that's the Bucs uniform. I like it. It's classic. It's a classic update. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It looks nice. I mean, they didn't try to do too much. The Patriots, on the other hand, went straight color rush with their uniforms. They said, you know what, we look good on Thursday nights. Why not just make that our uniforms? And that's kind of what they did. Which, I mean, I don't hate it. It's not ugly. It looks exactly like what I wore in high school. It looks exactly what I wore in high school, sophomore through junior year, and then we got new jerseys after that. I was telling Will, we ended up having like 6 different options, but we didn't wear them all, but we still had them.
I'm not a big fan of the ATL on the Falcons jersey. I'm not a big fan of that.
You're not a big fan?
I wish it was smaller.
Smaller. I did think it was kind of large. I was like, dang, this is very large. And then the numbers already itself. I was just like, But
I
kind of like the color scheme.
I don't mind the two-tone jersey. Like, I don't mind that. I don't think it looks terrible. I mean, look at the Rams. I mean, our numbers are kind of two tones. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But
you got that shiny stuff, kind of like
I don't like the name patch on the Rams. I wish it was the Rams logo like right here. But
that definitely would have looked nice. They gotta change. I think they gotta change.
I can live with it. I can live with it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, nothing was bad. I think the internet is just so used to just hating things that people were just so like, nah, it's ugly. It looks stupid.
It's
like,
cool.
Why?
It's cool and edgy to hate stuff. So I mean, kids want to be cool and edgy and make fun of it. But in reality, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's really not.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be the Steelers with their Bumblebee throwback.
Exactly. I mean, people came out when the Rams came out with their new logo. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I mean, it's grown on me. I don't hate it.
And then you got the Browns. It's literally the same. It's literally the same.
They gave up on the uniforms a long time ago.
They didn't change anything.
It's the same thing. It's just a little bit less going on. It's the same thing. It just doesn't say Browns down the side, I think.
Dude, I couldn't even notice a difference, to be honest with you.
No, honestly, it looks like that doo-doo Browns.
Doo-doo Browns.
Saying with NFL, they got this whole Florida and Arizona so far have agreed to host teams. I think Texas might have said that they will too. But if they do that and the NFL decides to play in 2 states, there's not a lot of facilities available. I mean, you can't take away the college facilities because they might have a season. So, I mean, they got the stadium in Orlando. UCF has their own, so they could still use that stadium in Orlando. Unless
are you talking about college? The college teams letting the pro teams use their stadiums?
No. So the states have come out. Arizona and Florida have said that they're willing to host teams play. So, like, you can come here and use stadiums here, but there's no real extra stadiums because you can't take the college stadiums because what are you going to use, the college facility?
University of Florida already said they were gonna. My fault. Go ahead.
No, I didn't know that. But like, what are you going to do? Let's say the Vikings use Florida Stadium. Well, is Florida and Minnesota going to use the same weight room? Are they going to use the same training staff facility? Are they going to use the same locker room? Like, how is that going to be feasible?
You're going to have to stagger the days, I guess. I mean, you never really – I mean, you're going to have to plan accordingly. I mean, I know Jacksonville's hosting their second UFC event.
Yeah, but that's more of like their stadium down there. It's not really interfering with the locker room. I mean,
I understand, but I mean, you're still going to need – a lot of the training staff is the same. I mean,
yeah, but my whole thing is I'm like, okay, so D1 program, there may be like 70 guys on a team, 70 to 80, plus training staff, weight room staff, coaching staff, equipment staff, all the other people added in. You're looking at a few hundred people. Then NFL teams, they got 60, maybe 70 guys on the roster at one time, with injury and practice squad, plus their training staff, plus their equipment staff, plus all that. You got 2,000 people trying to use one facility every week. How is that going to work? Yeah,
I mean, they're going to cut those numbers down anyway, just because of the COVID. You think about it, just because they don't want to keep the spread of things, they're going to try to keep those numbers down as best as possible.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if organizations and schools can operate at a functional capacity with, let's say, 50%. I mean, there's so much to do every single day. Cutting that number down, things aren't going to get done. I mean, laundry, cutting film, making sure the field looks right, setting the field up, getting players taped, getting treatment, making sure all their equipment's ready, all that kind of stuff comes into play. You're going to cut that staff? You're not going to get half that stuff done in a day.
I mean, maybe – I mean, let's say Florida and Minnesota are playing on the same weekend. One's going to have to go to a different state. I mean, like Georgia's open, right? One's going to have to go there. One's going to have to come to Florida. I mean, that's kind of how they're probably going to schedule it.
Well, the state of Georgia hasn't opened up yet, the pro team.
I mean, but
what if they don't? What if it's just Florida, the state of Florida, and then state of Arizona are the only two states that allow NFL teams to come play?
You're gonna have to stagger them that way.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stagger them. They're gonna find a way. I mean,
there are people that get paid a lot more than us to figure that kind of stuff out.
Oh, we get paid? I didn't know that.
Exactly.
And then UFC, they had 2 fight cards this week, so at least there was, along with Korean baseball, there was at least some kind of sports going on. I watched kind of the highlights, and I saw some of the stuff on Twitter. I mean, for what it was, I mean, I think it was some good entertainment and distraction from, just the nothingness that's been going on.
Watching 2 people beat the hell out of each other is always great entertainment. You just, I remember when you didn't have to pay for that stuff in high school. You could just watch it afterwards.
To be honest.
I kind of like the whole thing. Not having people in the stands, you can actually hear how violent those hits and everything were. I mean, you hear, the Tony Ferguson fight, literally the dude just pop, 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 pop. Every time you hit him in the face, it was like a loud pop. And you're like, holy crap, he's like swinging. It was just like you don't get to hear that unless you're practicing in the gym with them, fighting. Like you hear that every day. But as a normal fan, I'm a every once in a while fan. You don't get to hear it, so you really don't get a grasp for how violent these hits are.
And the
winner, just like, wow.
The winner of that fight is I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name because I don't think I can.
Something with a G.
There's like a G and a silent J in there, and I'm not even gonna try. I think the winner. I think he's fighting Khabib next, isn't he? Or he wants to fight Khabib.
There is a whole bunch of stuff going on Twitter with what's his name and Khabib, Connor, going back and forth about who should fight who. They were dissing that back and forth. I tried to follow, but I'm like,
hey, that boy Khabib is a bad man.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, then we had the.
He was wrestling bears at 9 years old.
He's from that part of the world where they're just different people.
I saw the video. That man was wrestling a bear at 9 years old. That is wild.
Yes.
Speaking of, I think I could wrestle like a good, like, small to medium-sized bear. I think I could do
it.
Nephew, what?
I think I could do it.
You?
I'm
medium
not
bear?
Fight it. I said I could wrestle it. Like if the bear was trained to not bite, I think I could wrestle the bear.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not gonna out here like fight a bear. Jesus Christ! I think I could wrestle it.
I don't know, Will. You might try.
Help the bear.
I'm a big dude, and I'm a big dude now, and I have a wrestling background. I think I could do it.
If you haven't wrestled officially
Help the bear.
a while, I mean,
I haven't wrestled competitively, but I coach it. I mean, I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing.
I could wrestle a bear. I don't care what you guys think. I don't need your approval.
All right, think what you want.
Let's start it in the comments. # let Will wrestle a bear. Let's get it set up.
Yeah, all right. You finance that.
We'll be rolling for them.
I mean, in that same notion, playing without fans, I think the NFL said they want to do that. I think a lot of people are not ready to hear how insane those collisions really sound like at real time. I mean, we all know how violent those collisions really sound and look like from our own experiences and what it really feels like to be on the field when somebody gets pancaked and you could feel the ground shake. And then you could hear and then see people running past you. I think this is going to be the first time regular fans are going to have an appreciation for, oh, no, these dudes are aliens. Like, they're not normal. No, they're not regular. As soon as they see a linebacker come through the A-gap and smack a running back and they hear that thump coming through the hole, they're going to be like, this is dangerous. This is violent. The sound's so muffled on TV.
Reason to support the safety issues.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna be like, "Oh, wow, we should be regulating this." Yeah, no shit. It is very, very violent. All of us are beat to hell. You know, even at the level we played, we're all beat the crap in some form or fashion. I mean, CTE be damned. People are gonna get a new appreciation for how gladiatorial that sport really is. I mean, my God, just the helmet cracks off the line of scrimmage alone. Like, it really is. Anything can happen on any play. NBA is still thinking about doing a biodome situation, March Madness style bracket. They want to jump right into the postseason, which, I mean, the season when it ended, it was kind of close to being done anyway. Like the top teams are already established at the moment.
I'm actually not sure as far as like towards the end of the season. I know they start playoffs in June. I wouldn't say everyone's seed was kind of set in stone, but I feel like for probably those top 2 or 3 of each division, we're probably going to be close to being set.
Well, let's say they do top 3, and they pull top 3 to do for top 3 from the East, West, what is it, South, and Central, or whatever the divisions are. What would that be like from each conference? 3, 6, 24 teams? A 24-team tournament that they did for 2.5, 3 weeks? I mean, I don't know if that's not feasible, but I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of ignorant on the whole NBA thing. Like, how would they do that? Would they do college like one game, or would they do a series? You think?
I'm not sure.
That would be interesting to dive in and try to figure out how they would set that up.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of information on that. That's just what I've been seeing. I'm not big on NBA Twitter, so I don't know what's being brung down the pipe along that. But that's an interesting thing. And then we also got MLB wants to do, 82 games? They want to do half a season.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, Arizona and Florida, if they're going to do it, those are the two states where you can have two different leagues, because Arizona and Florida, they have enough stadiums from minor league and fall league stadiums to have teams come in and play. I mean, I think that is – I can honestly see that happening without fans. There's enough facilities down here. Everyone plays at their spring training stadiums. I mean, I can see that working.
Yeah, it definitely can work. I just wasn't really a fan of the 82 game season, just because you're really cutting into – you're kind of expecting them to, one, take a pay cut at the end of the day, if you think about it. They're not going to be paid for pretty much every game. Two, you're cutting into stats. And as far as baseball is a big numbers game at the end of the day. And it kind of ruins people's stats. People's stats may be inflated, deflated as far as batting average or innings pitched. And those numbers aren't going to come as true as if they were to play an actual season. But I saw how they were also talking about most teams play their best baseball on a 100-game span anyway. So somehow 82 games actually might work out for them. Because for some reason, I guess that stretch is where their best baseball is played, like I said. And teams usually have, probably like a 3.5 to like 5 game difference where those games actually matter.
Yeah, I mean, you got Yankees, Astros, Dodgers. Who else? I mean, those are teams that have really make their bread and butter in those first 100, where they get their leads. I can see them being fine with it. Smaller organizations, probably not, like Tampa. Even though Tampa still has a chance. The Braves might be another team that's safe in that gap to be like, hey, we're okay. We don't need to worry too much. But yeah, the smaller organizations, I can see that being a problem. I mean, then with the whole stats thing, I mean, a lot of guys bank on, let's say I call them the rubber band players, like they can flex either way, up or down. You know, either they can have a good spring or a first few good 40 games and be in the league, or they're down back in AAA. It's like, what are we gonna do with them? Are we gonna have minor league games still going on? Those minor league teams usually play in Florida. They play in the spring training stadium, so we can have minor league and MLB going on at the same time. Like, how are we gonna be able to evaluate our talent to know, like, hey, if he gets injured, we can move him up? You know, how are they gonna? I don't know how they're gonna facilitate that. I mean, because baseball teams have large organizations with a lot of players, and there's guys that are on the edge that could be brought up if need be. Like, how are we gonna know if are they just not gonna play? Are they gonna play extended training camp while that's all going on, just so that they stay fresh and ready? I mean, that's also something to take into account as well.
That is true. I give you that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be hard to play minor league games while if all the MLB teams are pretty much in Arizona or Florida. It's gonna be kind of hard to kind of keep that, because what are you gonna do? They can't have. I wouldn't say they wouldn't be able to like fill up every stadium, but I just feel like trying to run those simultaneously is gonna be just kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's a decision, you know, for them to make. But that's a hard decision. And then, do those guys get paid on top of not just MLB guys? I mean, Single A doesn't even get paid anything really, but like they still need to make money to live. It's like, how you guys going to be able to afford to keep them, or you're going to cut the organization roster down? And then what happens to those guys? I mean, that's a whole nother thing to get into as well. I mean, you're just going to cut all your Single A guys? Where are they going to go? You have all this talent now just sitting out nowhere.
They basically going to end up probably leave and go play overseas where it's clean. Any place that's actually still playing.
I don't know if the Dominican Republic is clean. It's clean. I mean, or Venezuela. I mean, that's a whole nother situation. We don't need to get into politically, but then you got a lot of guys that are from there. I mean, shoot, Yankees organization is like 20% Venezuelan. When you look at organization-wise, there's a whole bunch of dudes from Venezuela in their team. What are they going to do? They're going to go home and play and risk their lives with what's going on there? If you cut them, what's the guarantee that you're going to sign them back anyway? They can just get the younger guys underneath them. So it's like, it's a shitty situation, man. We have no
trickling down. So I mean, it's going to pretty much hurt everybody in the long run. Hell, even the short run. But at the end of the day, they got to figure something out. So
tough decisions. Then also in NFL news, we got the whole James Harrison thing where he was on a podcast, came out and said for some hit he had on the Browns, I forget which year. It wasn't even.
It was on Mohamed Massaquoi, and it was bad.
According to him, he didn't even hit him that hard.
He pretty much ended that man's career. Like, no joke. Like, he retired shortly after.
Think about that. James Harrison ended the man's career and only hit him with 50% power.
I don't believe that.
But if that's true, that's terrifying.
I mean, James Harrison's a scary individual. Like, his nickname was Debo for –
It's Debo.
But his agent just came out and said that it never happened, that Tomlin never handed him that envelope.
But even if he did, I mean, there's no evidence of the Steelers having a bounty situation. Honestly, I honestly think if it did happen, Tomlin's a real cool guy with his players. It might have just been him be like, hey, this is bullshit. I'm just going to pay your fine. Because at the same time, the NFL was profiting off that hit. They were selling pictures on NFLshop.com of that hit because they were also selling a DVD for the NFL Greatest Hits. You know, we all seen the YouTube videos. You know, we used to watch the pump-up videos in high school, NFL Greatest Hits. That was going to be a part of it. But now all of a sudden there's this whole thing right at that time where all of a sudden now the NFL is starting to care about player safety because they were dealing with a concussion lawsuit. So now they're like, well, this looks bad. We can't profit off this now. So now we kind of have to sue. You know, we have to fine James. And I think Tomlin was like, you know what? That's bullshit. Here's $75,000. I think that's what happened.
I feel like James Harrison could have paid that, though. I mean, that's not a lot of money to him, man. The man played for years.
But he was never a highest paid player. I'm not saying he can't afford it, but he was never a really high paid player at the same time.
But he made enough.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think it was more the principle that mattered than he can afford it. Even though he got fined a lot throughout his career, he's not a Vontaze Burfict. I think it was just the fact that he's old school. I'm gonna come after you, and whatever happens, happens. Like I don't think he intentionally tried to murder people on the field, like Vontaze. But Twitter got set afire with that. And people from Cleveland are all upset, and with Sean Payton's throwing a fit now because he got caught. He's like, see, other people were doing it too. Why'd you punish me that bad?
It's because no one likes Sean Payton because he complains about everything.
Thank you. I understand. You won a Super Bowl. You've had a successful organization for a long time. The man constantly. I know you're.
He's the biggest crybaby in the league, man.
He's the only coach I see whining every single year.
He literally tried to get a game replayed because of a missed call. I get that pass interference was like egregious and like you're coming from a Rams fan. Yeah, it was pass interference, but they didn't call it. It happens. Missed calls happen. That is part of sports.
Happens in baseball. It's
literally you got a rule change. And the rule change sucked because more than half the calls, didn't even get overturned in the next year. And it was
Alberto Riveron.
It was only fitting that they lost that playoff game on a possible offensive pass interference that didn't get reviewed. It's only fitting. They deserve it. No, because challenging pass interference effectively ruins part of the league.
But if it's a part of the game, though, it's fairness for everybody if it's a rule, though. You still should have the opportunity.
I understand, but missed
challenge.
calls are a thing, man. Missed calls are a thing. You have to get over it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can't just keep stopping the game. Just keep reviewing everything.
And that's what I'm saying. It slows down the game. And people who want to complain and say, "Oh, but if that pass interference gets called, the Saints win the game." That's not necessarily true. If you go back and watch like the mic'd up version of it, Drew Brees comes to the sideline that drive before the play happens, and Sean Payton goes, "I don't want to go for a field goal here. I want to go for a touchdown." He says that. So they weren't just going to sit there and run 3 plays and kick a field goal. They threw an incomplete pass on the first play of that drive, then ran the ball, and then on third down throw that pass. They had plenty of opportunities to run the clock down, and they chose not to. They also blew a 13-point lead, and who's to say if that pass interference gets called, who's to say the next play they don't fumble the snap, they don't fumble the snap, and Aaron Donald picks it up and goes 80 yards for a touchdown?
No, I definitely agree that they could have won the game well before that. They are the masters of their own destiny, and the fact that happened, boo-hoo.
But that call is not the only reason they lost.
No, yeah, they could just like at the same time, if Kyle Rudolph doesn't push off, well, great, the ref didn't see a push off. You can't. It is what it is.
It's part of the game.
If you score, whoever scores more points wins. If you would have scored more points before they had an opportunity to get in that situation where he pushes off for a fade and catches it, well, guess what? That wouldn't have helped them win anyway. If you would have just
if your defense had showed up, if your defense had showed up and not let them in the game, going back to the Rams game, if your defense doesn't allow 13 unanswered points, you win the game.
Exactly.
Do your job.
But then even after the whole, we're gonna make it challengeable. I think the most BS thing was coaches weren't even challenging it after like week 3, because the guy that was doing it was unsuccessful because the head of officiating, Alberto Riveron, I watched the Pat McAfee show. He cannot stand him, and I understand why. The guy has a little bit of an ego problem. He took it as an insult, as the league was insulting the referees, saying that they were incompetent and their judgment is negligible.
I can see where he's coming from, though.
So he took it upon himself to basically be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with whatever the referee crew, whatever the officiating crew says.
I would say
none of them were successful.
I would say majority of the time, though, the refs did get it right.
Not always.
I would say majority of the time, though.
There was I don't know, man. There was a bunch of games.
Pass interference isn't as much of a glaring issue as the Saints and people tried to make it out to be. It's not.
I say 70% of the time it's always correct. That 25% I think is the problem.
Let the guys play.
It is a judgment call, just like baseball. Bang bang plays are judgment calls.
Let them play.
It's a part of the mystique of the game. We're all human. Human error is a part of the sport.
That's what builds sports. That's what kind of builds rivalries is, kind of stuff like that.
I think all the outrage really was because plays affecting things and affecting scoring opportunities. I think it was people, now that sports gambling is legal, it can affect the money line.
If you want to do it, go ahead. More power to. If you want to gamble, you're more than welcome to. But I'm saying if you're so nervous and if you're putting that much money to where it is affecting you that much, you have a problem.
I was just saying, I think that's where a lot of the outrage was coming from. But I don't know, that whole situation's now gone. They're not even going to try to review interference. Honestly, what I think the league's too prideful to change over right away, but I honestly would love to see the NFL incorporate the XFL's officiating procedures
where they just have a third party do it.
Yeah, where they have a replay official.
Yeah,
where they watch they're watching the game, and they have a headpiece. They have an earpiece to the white hat, and instead of the white hat running 70 yards down the field to go watch a little screen like this big to see what the play was, He's sitting there on a big screen. He can break it down millisecond by millisecond. Go, okay, he really was down at this point. Boom, and he makes a call. And then the fact that we can all hear the decision making.
That's what the AAF was doing too, before they were disbanded. Yeah. I mean,
I remember the AAF. They had that big white dude in the all black suit. He looked like a mafia boss.
Yeah,
he was the review official. I mean, that was a funny thing to see.
The fact that we're still relying on old men with eye problems to spot the ball, and we're not using lasers by now.
They do a terrible job of spotting.
You can't tell me that we can't have yard markers that have a laser across the field, put a sensor in the ball, and tell me that it can't be done. Don't tell me.
I mean, I don't really watch golf, but on golf they have a ball tracker. Like, if you ever watch that where they tee off, I'm doing a baseball swing here, but when they tee off, you can actually see where the ball's going and where it's landing. Can't like you said, why can't they do that with football?
Soccer has it. Soccer has a laser right across the goal line.
Yeah.
And I understand.
Same thing, I think hockey's still video.
I understand with football. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that could break that laser, but that's why you put a sensor in the ball, and that sensor tells you how close the ball is to it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I definitely agree with that.
I don't see how we're not doing that yet, where it can tell you exactly how far away it is. If he actually broke the plane, you know what I'm saying? Put it in each end of the ball.
What I would like to talk about is the last two episodes. I know I told you guys off recording. I didn't retain a whole lot from the last two episodes. I think I was more entertained than I was with retaining the info.
I missed him this week. I didn't get a chance to see him.
But
I only one that watched The Last Dance.
No, I watched it. Like I said, I just didn't. CTE, man. I didn't retain all of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of information. It's hard to keep all that.
Man, I honestly believe he could have been a damn good I don't think he could have had a Bo Jackson-esque career in baseball, but I think he could have had a damn good career if they didn't have that 95 strike. Like, if they didn't cancel the season in 95, I think MJ might have played.
I don't know, man. I think he's Tebow-esque. You know, he's just going to hang around in the minors. Yeah. I don't think he was ever going to make the major leagues.
First year, he had a 2.0 batting average, 50 RBIs. That's unheard of for a first-year player. And what did he play, Double-A? Tebow hasn't even – I don't think Tebow has had a season like that yet. So that's not comparable. The guy did something that no one has ever done. They've come into a sport for the first time, I think he said 14 years was the last time he played baseball, and he virtually dominated Double-A. And he started.
He came in and started.
Okay, who's going to be the team to bench Michael Jordan?
You do have a point.
You're not going to bench him though. You're not going to say, "Oh, we're just not going to play you." That's part of the novelty. Is, hey, we have Michael Jordan playing for us. Come watch us.
But that's Mike wasn't that kind of guy, though. I think Mike legitimately wanted to earn it.
I understand he legitimately might have wanted to earn it, but they were never going to bench him.
I know that, but still.
Let's be real here.
Tebow was trash. We're going to be honest about that.
But Tebow, they're not going to bench him. They're not going to bench him.
He still sold jerseys. I know that. They're not going to bench him, but he's trash. Michael Jordan was at least somewhat decent.
Michael Jordan had a mediocre baseball career.
No, he did not.
I know that, but still.
He didn't have a mediocre. He had a promising season. Listen, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. He had a promising season. He showed the ability, okay?
But could he maintain that ability?
With his mindset, I definitely believe he could have.
I don't think so.
The guy was
I feel like he was competitive enough to make it out of that hole.
Exactly. The guy took BP at least 3 times a day. Even the best player in the league doesn't take BP 3 times a day.
I can take BP 3 times a day. It doesn't mean I'm going to be that good.
But you're not – you don't even have the groundwork for the skill. He had the groundwork for the skill. Yeah, but you don't have –
You played baseball last time you played baseball was in high school. Same.
But you're not as athletically inclined as Michael.
I don't need to be that athletic to play baseball. That's why it's baseball.
Hold on, Mark. Hold on now.
You tell me a first baseman that's more athletic than I am.
Luke Voit.
You want to go play first base?
I could play first base.
Luke Voit will beat you up and down the court.
I played catcher. I played catcher too. You don't have to be that athletic to play catcher.
You don't even have the knees to play catcher.
I do have the knees to play catcher because I did play catcher.
Nah, man, he wasn't grinding like they were.
But I'm just saying you don't have to have God, you don't have to have God-tier athleticism to play baseball.
You don't have to have top-tier athleticism. You still have to have –
Yes, you have to have certain skill. Like, let's say you're
Adam Jones and Ken Griffey Jr. have entered the chat.
If you're playing in the outfield, yes, you need to have great speed, great hand-eye coordination. That's fantastic.
That's what he played. He played outfield.
Hand-eye coordination throughout this whole
But you know what I'm saying? But if
you have bad hand-eye coordination, you're going to be a bad baseball player.
If I'm playing catcher, I don't need to be that fast. I don't need to – I just need to be able to catch the ball and make the throw to second base or third base. That's really all you have to do.
Hey, look, that pop time serious now. You think your pop time can get from –
I understand. But like I said, I can work on that. But by his argument, if my work ethic is as good as Michael Jordan's, I can get just as good, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, just because the man has a great work ethic doesn't mean he's going to develop elite level skill. I worked harder than I could tell you right now, I worked harder than Division I football players. Did I develop Division I level skill?
No.
No, Will.
Exactly.
No,
because you don't have Division I level athleticism. Michael Jordan had Hall of Fame level athleticism.
He quit in the prime of his career. He quit in the prime of his career to go play baseball.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying
had a good season.
Yeah, but is he going to be able to maintain that? Yes, you can start out very good. You can start out hot. Baseball is a game of numbers. You know this. They tend to even themselves out, right? When someone's in a slump, right? They tend to say he's due for a hit, right? You can't stay hot your entire career.
Deion Sanders did it. He didn't stay hot his whole career.
16 games. He started off that way.
You cannot maintain that for the entire career.
He could have.
I know that.
He definitely could have. He maintained it throughout his career.
I have his baseball card right here. If you want me to pull it out and tell you his stats.
I just told you.
But still, the fact that he came in mid of his career, comes in with a 14 to 16 game hitting streak.
That's great. But can he maintain that?
Damn near unheard of. You can't maintain a hitting streak no matter.
Okay, but I'm tired of people like trying to build like this like mystique of Michael Jordan's going to be this great baseball player off of 16 games.
It wasn't 16 games. It was a whole season.
Great.
You know what I'm saying? That's not a big enough sample size. 1 year is not enough to judge someone's actual ability.
Yes, it is. Yes,
no,
it is.
It's not. It's not.
They play 80 games.
Even owner said even if he had 1,000 more at bats, he would be in the pros.
Terry Francona, one of the best talent evaluators in baseball, said Michael had what it took.
I don't think he did.
Well, then you're disagreeing
Terry
with
Francona?
You're disagreeing with Terry Francona, someone who knows more than you.
Sure.
Someone who's more qualified to talk on the subject.
He's never been wrong? I'm sorry, he's never been wrong?
The man broke Boston's
he's never been wrong?
No, the man has broken
He's never been wrong?
This is coming from a Yankee fan.
Hey, you don't miss a lot. I'm not gonna lie. You don't miss a lot.
All right.
I hated Terry Francona for years.
That's
the
great.
man is good at his job.
That's fine.
He took Boston from the basement to winning, 2 or 3 World Series?
Michael Jordan was mediocre at baseball. That's why he left. There was no future in it.
Oh my God! He left because of the '95 strike.
He didn't have to come back. He didn't have to come back to basketball.
You saw what Scotty
did. If he had such a great future in baseball, why did he leave?
You said, why did he leave?
If he had such a great future, if he was going to make it, there's more money in baseball than there is basketball.
Because not at the time. No, not at that time. He was making way more.
The owners begged him to come back.
He made that decision. He made the decision that he wanted to come back to basketball.
Ain't no future.
If he didn't, oh my God, yes, there was.
Where was the killer instinct there? Where's the finisher mentality there?
The killer instinct was 50 ribbies in his first season.
Mm-hmm.
That's the killer instinct. He had 50 ribbies in his first season.
I'm saying
Most guys,
if the killer instinct was there, he would have never left.
Will, you're arguing because you want to get on the GOAT debate. The killer instinct is there. Most guys go through 4
I'm not talking about
seasons.
The GOAT debate. We already know how I feel about that.
I'm talking about baseball specifically. Most guys go 4 or 5 seasons in their minor league career before they even drop 50 ribbies. They go through rookie league, low A, plus A, minus A. Then they go to fall league. They go through all that before they even can have anywhere close to the first season that he had because they're developing. He didn't have to develop right away. He had the raw talent to drop 50 RBIs and to go on a hitting streak and to get better and to he was on the train of development to have a solid career that most guys fight their whole life from high school or from the Dominican Republic or from other countries to get to. He did it in his first year that most guys have to take time to do. He did it right away. The fact of the matter is, if the man continued, if he chose to bestow his divinity on the sport of baseball,
okay, I'm just saying
he could have had a half decent career. He could. I'm not going to go on Hall of Fame.
We're just focusing. What ifs. Dude, the man had 11 errors.
Again, his first.
He was tied for the league lead in errors. He was not great at baseball.
He was I'm not gonna lie. He was terrible in the outfield.
That's half the game.
He even admits his fielding was not on the par,
but
offensively.
Hey, look, fielding really be a hard part of the game. Fielding is really hard.
Okay, if he's so great, if he was going to be so good, that's a big part of the game.
I understand. Hey, look, you can work on that, but
his work ethic work that.
Oh no! Now comes the work ethic, right? Now comes the work ethic, right? Okay, all right.
Oh my God!
Okay. He already had half of the problem solved.
Killer instinct, Michael Jordan. No,
he already had half of the problem solved with his hitting. The only thing he had to work on was his hitting.
He's not going to maintain 50 RBIs a season. It's not gonna happen.
He can still build off of it and work and get better.
Okay, but if he focuses on his fielding,
his power could have got better.
Let's say he's got to focus on his fielding, right? If he wants to get better, it's going to take majority of his training time. Correct? His hitting is going to suffer.
No, it's not.
Yes, that's how that works.
I wouldn't say so.
If you neglect it, it will suffer.
Mark has more experience than both of us. I think that's
you're going to work on every part of the game regardless. If fielding is going to be there, fielding is going to be there. I feel like fielding was more natural, so I focused more on my hitting because I knew it was already flagging. I just felt like no matter what he was going to do, if he'd put effort in either, it was going to balance out. To be honest with you,
he had a 2.2 batting average.
That's not bad for your first year. That's not bad for your first year.
It's not good. It's decent. It's decent for someone who just randomly just picks up a baseball bat.
He's not.
Devontae, we're arguing with a man that has no knowledge about the sport.
He didn't even randomly pick it up. He played baseball.
I know he played baseball, but to go from high school and then just stop completely and then pick it back up literally in the midst of your career basketball at 31.
He had a below average batting average and a horrible fielding record. The guy was not great.
Oh my God! He had a not bad.
Season. When I say mediocre means average.
What is? He was gonna at least have a decent.
You realize that you're arguing statistics for a major league season, for a double-A season. That's not bad.
Oh, so we want to lower the bar for him now. Let's lower the bar.
We're not lowering the bar. We're not lowering the bar.
If we're going to hold him to, if we want to say he could play professionally, let's put the bar at professional standards here.
That's all right. Professional.
Let's put the bar at professional standards.
Yep.
Let's put the bar at professional standards. Don't move the goalposts. Don't move the goalposts for Jordan. Don't do it.
We're not
moving nothing for Jordan.
I'm comparing to the level that he played.
But I'm saying
he did not do bad.
But you're saying he could have played in the league, correct?
Because
that's what you said.
Because minor league is a developmental system.
Okay, no.
Eventually, he would have got listen before you argue.
You said he's going to play in the league. Let's set the bar at the MLB standard.
Because he's still going to play in the MLB.
Not with a 2.02 average.
You can play with a 2, but there's a lot of guys that don't even hit above 200.
With 11 errors and a 2.02 average, your ass is going back to the minors.
Will, he was in AA. You still have to go to AAA. He still had to develop.
I understand that.
He had the potential to develop past what he did, which
those
was
owners were looking at the
decent
potential.
season.
They were looking at what he was doing at the moment.
I'm saying if we're going to present the argument that he could have played in the MLB, you have to hold him to that standard.
Which was not a bad first season.
Which is the MLB standard. Oh, let's look up the average batting average in the MLB in the 90s.
I don't think you're understanding how this works. You have to go through AAA. For the level that he was at. For the level he was at, he showed the ability to improve. He had plenty of growth in his game. So he would have grown another season. Maybe he played AA again.
Right,
huh?
And then he still would have gone.
It's a little under 250, right, Will?
Let me look. I got to
find that batting average. That batting average not going to be high. I'll tell you that now.
He still would have gone to AAA and had more development, and he would have faced higher talent. His talent would have raised to the level he's playing. He still had to go through AAA. Then after AAA, then he goes to the majors. But for what he showed, per prospects, he showed the same level of ability that most prospects showing at that level for promise. He showed promise at that level too.
270. He is 0.07 below. That's a lot statistically.
70 points that's not bad.
That's a lot.
That's not bad.
The average is almost 3, and he's 202. He is almost under 2.
Wait, for MLB?
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about AA. Talking about AA.
But we're holding him to an MLB standard.
Why?
Because you said he's so good he can go to the league. Hold him to the standard.
I did not say that. I said he showed the potential to eventually.
Okay, but then you presented Terry Francona said he could go to the league. Don't bring that into the argument if you don't believe it yourself.
Because Terry Francona said he had the potential to move on.
You said he had what it takes
to move on. Eventually.
So then we're implying that he would have eventually made it to the league, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Then hold him to that standard.
I'm holding the standard. Some might not. Hold him to the standard. I think he'd have made a decent career.
Then what I'm saying has to make sense to you.
I'm saying he could have, but what I'm arguing is the fact that you're saying he was horrible with the MLB standards. He was not bad for AA standards. He showed that he had room to grow enough to move on to AAA.
All right, you know what?
He could have eventually moved on to MLB.
We're gonna have to agree.
That's what I'm saying.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree because we've gone for about an hour and a half. I think it's time we wrap this up.
I think we agree that you don't know baseball. I think that's what we're agreeing.
I think we agree that I just out debated you, and
no, you didn't.
You're mad.
No, I'm not mad at all. You didn't propose the right.
I just pooped all over you in an argument.
No, you did not. No, you did not.
So I think we should wrap this up, guys.
Oh my God, this kid needs to learn baseball.
So this has been the second episode of 53 1/3. This is Will England signing out.
Oh, this is Sean Hurley signing out. Hopefully we will have more of these exciting conversations. God. As you guys can tell, we're all a little different. We all have our own opinions. That's hopefully this dynamic will entertain you people.
And last but not least, we have who signing out?
Devontae, it's your boy.